Do you remember once I recorded an episode where I shared that I lost some decent amount of money? I just broke that record. Yes, situations are different, and the night before yesterday I found out that my budget has become noticeably smaller. Not critical, but to be honest, unpleasant. Anything can happen in life. Some things depend entirely on you and some don't. No matter how much you want, you can't just keep the whole world under your control. And yes, money not only comes but also goes, and sometimes much easier than you expect. But that's part of the game. These are the rules, and it also has its own charm. So everyone needs to learn how to manage money properly and, learn this art of managing financial flows. It may seem to many that there is nothing difficult here. Well, money is just numbers, but such a judgment is a mistake because understanding of financial is multi-faced and non-trivial. There are a lot of things you can talk about here. Repeat Robert Kiyosaki and think about his views on assets and liabilities. Think about diversification, debt and much more. But I want to tell you about one simple, actually very simple thing that I prefer not to touch at all, but knowing that it exists. I'm talking about a financial reserve, about that money that is always there no matter what happens and that will help you to stay afloat in a critical moment. I sincerely believe that money should work to the maximum. Every first book I grew up on repeated this. From an early age I knew about inflation, I planned how I would manage my capital and replayed my success in head many thousands of times. And when I started to make money, I always invested in a new business or put into an existing project. I want to say that they just never were, inactive. I think it's a very good habit to always know where your money is, monitor its movement and growth, use it in a way that creates new opportunities. But once a few years ago I realized that I was already making very good profits, but I wasn't leaving anything for myself to live on. This created not only inconveniences but also some kind of danger. The distribution of my funds went something like this. I allocated 95% of my money to business and 5% to my other expenses like paying for my flat, for my food and all the stuff that are basically essential for people. I believe that this is better than spending everything on buying yourself tons of branded clothes, new devices without a clear need of them, and flushing basically your results in the toilet. But I didn't leave anything in case of problems. So I changed my financial management system just a bit. I realized that I could divide them into more areas, so I began to allocate 80% to business, the same 5% to life, 10% to reserve fund, 2% to entertainment and 3% to education. I think this was my first step towards learning how to spend at least a little money on myself, because until that moment I hadn't used an extra dollar to make me feel good. Yes, the 2% allocated, let's say, for fun had a positive impact on my well-being. 3% allocated for education went to courses, webinars and other things that allowed me to further improve my competence. The 5% allocated to life still seems sufficient to me, but what's more interesting is the 10% that I invested in my personal reserve. By the way, I didn't do this forever. I set a certain amount, reaching which I could cope with almost anything that could happen in my life. And when I accumulated this amount in reserve, I stopped saving 5% and again redirected them to the business. But what I'm saying is, if you are in business, if you are taking risks to expand your horizons, you need to have a financial reserve. In business, everything may go not according to plan, and it's much better to be prepared for the complete loss of personal funds, so that if something happens, you won't be forced to think about where should I find money to at least stay alive and eat some food. I believe you understand what I'm talking about. A similar situation happened to me now. Well, to be honest, sudden losses, which, by the way, are also part of the game, they, really made adjustments to my plans. I really don't like to get into the reserve, because I like to see it only grows and not decreases. But anyway, thanks to it I can take risks and know that I won't just be with a bare ass without nothing, you know. I tried to keep money on it for about 6 months of my life, so if I suddenly lose all my sources of income, I still will be able to live the life I'm accustomed to exclusively on the saved money. I don't see the point in holding money for a longer time period, because I know that if something happens, I will react very quickly and fix everything. Well, 6 months is more than enough. And the more money you keep there, the more finances lie without generating income. So find your middle ground yourself. Everyone's needs are different, and by the way, don't forget about the inflation. If you don't have your cash flow set up right now, just try to save at least a little, you know, to take that first step. Even $100 can be an important investment if made wisely. So I would recommend seriously consider my recommendation. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching this episode and checking my other videos as well. So if this episode was useful for you, give me your like and write the comment below. If it wasn't, give me your dislike, sorry. And write the comment below in any case, just to let me know what should be improved, what can I do better next time. So yeah, it will be highly appreciated. Follow my channel, feel free to do this, and see you in the day after tomorrow. Thank you very much.